So I'm going to take you on a little walkthrough on how I go from London to Paris via the Eurostar. I also thought I might toss in some recommendations of things to do in Paris, especially with folks traveling in this summer. So I first wanted to start with the fact that King's Cross can be a little tricky to navigate. You have the King's Cross tube station, you have the domestic train station, and so when you are going here, you want to make sure you're going to the international train station. What I tell my friends and family is that if you see a glass building, you know you're in the right place. As with all train stations, it can be a little busy and chaotic. The great news is that the Eurostar goes from the same platform all the time, so you basically just have to go down this way and then to the left. We'll do a quick walkthrough here so you can follow along. In the meantime, I just wanted to spout some facts about getting the Eurostar. So things to know beforehand. You can get your ticket straight to your phone, so you have a mobile boarding pass. Next, Eurostar has a really generous luggage allowance, and so you're able to bring 2 big suitcases and hand luggage. There's no weight limit, and I also think it's really convenient that there are no liquid requirements. And so this is really helpful if you want to bring back a couple bottles of wine from your trip in France. Of course, just remember to check what the limits are before you have to declare for customs. And it's also great if you want to drink something on your journey. So you can bring huge bottles of water without having to get rid of them. You can also bring alcohol that you can drink on the carriage. So that is capped at 4 cans of beer and 1 bottle of wine. And so now this is the most important call out that I'm going to make. Even though the Eurostar is technically a train where you should be able to just hop on and go like you do for domestic rail, since it is an international trip, you do have to go through security as well as border control. And so Eurostar has a really hard and fast rule that you have to have scanned your ticket past the gate 30 minutes before the train is supposed to take off. And they recommend that you get there like 60 to 90 minutes beforehand so that you have enough time to clear security, border control, etc. And so it's pretty straightforward going through for departures. Basically, you whip out your mobile ticket and you use that to scan past the gates. There is security that you clear, and then once you get past that, you go through first the English border control, and then afterwards you go through the second border control, which is for the French side. And so when you clear that area, you end up in the Eurostar terminal. You have this nice little waiting area for all the different trains that the Eurostar runs. Although the Eurostar operates from the UK, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, the London route only directly goes to a couple cities, so it goes to Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, and Rotterdam. I was pretty surprised how busy it was this morning. Lots of people getting ready to go for their trains. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hangry this morning because I had to wake up really early before eating breakfast and get to the train station. And so here I am just nomming away while the train is called and everyone's queuing and going up that way. But in good time, I made my way into the queue. There's this little escalator that takes you up to the train level, which is pretty fun to ride. Because I'm super short, I kind of feel like I'm always falling off it when I get on. The incline is actually pretty steep. And then you get to the train level and get to see the train, which is always really cool. You have assigned seats for the Eurostar, and so you just have to make your way to the right carriage. Every seat comes with a UK and a European plug socket. And the train does have Wi-Fi, although I found it to be a little spotty sometimes, and instead I tend to use my hotspot. But even with the hotspot, because the train does go underground, it's not as consistent. So if you're planning on doing work on the train, I'd recommend you download things offline, same with any videos or things you want to watch. It's a pretty smooth train ride, and I'm always so impressed to think that it only takes around 2.5 hours, give or take, to make it to Paris. And I always find that first step off the platform into the train station to be quite magical, more for the fact that there is such a contrast between riding the train and just suddenly finding yourself in the center of Paris with all the vibrancy, the hustle and bustle. And it's very cool to just be able to ride 3 hours and go straight into the city center. So I'm definitely not a professional blogger by any means, but I thought it might be nice to document more for me to have memories of this trip, what I got up to in Paris. So I'm just going to quickly gloss over some sights, smells, and some recs for places to eat if that's interesting at all. This kind of brings me back to my ultimate intention for this channel, which is called London Onni, where Onni means older sister in Korean. So of course Onni can be used to describe your sibling, but in Korea it's also used a little more liberally, where you can call a friend who is older than you an Onni as a sign of affection and a relationship bond, where you're looking after each other and ultimately cheering each other on. This is a feeling I wanted to curate with this channel, where you feel like a friend has gone up ahead of you and is ultimately looking out for you, someone who has your back. And this trip to Paris was organized by an Onni of mine who I admire and missed very, very much. She made the point to bring together Onnis from her life for no big life milestone reason, other than what I think is actually the best and most important reason of all, that she missed her friends and wanted to spend devoted quality time together in each other's company, just enjoying life. Which personally I've forgotten about. I feel like in life I can get so busy and caught up with responsibilities that I forget that there doesn't have to be a reason or a big life event for why I want to get together and just spend time with my friends. And that serious note aside, I think the main takeaway is that I found myself in a space where I felt safe to laugh, be playful, to be myself, and I want more of that. And so in this video, just want to manifest that for all of us. So here's 2 more trips with people we love, and I hope that these videos can make trip planning just a tad bit easier so we can devote more of our energy to spend with people that matter most. So holding on to those very special memories, how do we get back? I rode the metro to the train station this time, and in Paris they use these paper tickets that you can purchase at each metro station. There's quite a lot of bundle options that you can pick from for the tickets, but when I'm in Paris I just tend to walk more because I want to see the city. So in this case I opted for getting a single fare per ride, which costs €2.15 whenever I needed it. When you get to this stop, you have to exit through the metro, and then you have to go up an escalator to get to the train level. So when you get to the train level, unlike the journey in where you arrived on the ground floor, for departures for the Eurostar, you're going to go to the first floor. So you're going to go up the escalators that are in the middle of the station to make your way to the Eurostar security gate. And so at the gate, you follow the same procedure you did before. So you first go through border force for the French side and then the UK side, and then you do security for your bags. The terminal is quite small and has basic amenities such as a duty-free. There is some cafe-style places where you can get a sandwich or a bite to eat before you go, but nothing super substantial that you might find in an airport terminal. But unlike airports, there isn't usually a huge wait before you get on your train because you're not coming to the airport 2 to 3 hours beforehand. And for the train, you board pretty quickly, so you'll be on the train in no time. Overall, a really smooth experience with the Eurostar. I know tickets can be quite pricey and a longer journey compared to flights, but if you factor in the luggage allowance and the time saved from arriving right in the heart of the city center, it could be the right option for you. I hope this video was useful, and please let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. In the meantime, wishing safe and happy travels this summer.